Ciao. So, today we're going to learn how to multiply and divide radicals. And yesterday you learned how to simplify radicals. So hopefully, hopefully you feel a little bit better from yesterday. So, we're going to do problems like this. Before we do problems like this, let's talk about the conceptual idea behind it. What are we really doing, and how do we actually really multiply? So if you really understand, grasp that, this should come a little bit easier. So let's take a look real fast. How do you do regular multiplying? Let's say, for example, you multiply like a 2x times a 3x. How would you multiply that normally? Well, people multiply the coefficients together, which makes a 6, and then the x's together, which makes an x squared. So the coefficients together, and then the variables together. Kind of like the same idea. So use that idea to multiply radicals. Take a look. Let's say I had a 2 square root of 5 times a 3 square root of 6. How would I multiply those together? Same idea. You multiply the 2 and the 3 makes a 6. The radical and the radical makes a square root of 30. That's it. That's the idea behind it. You multiply the inside with the inside, the outside with the outside. How do you guys feel? That's basically it. Yeah, and let's talk about some of the mistakes I'm going to see during the day. I'm going to see people actually multiply the outside into the inside. That's no good. And I'm going to see something like this. Let's say I have something like this. 3x times 2y. Can I multiply those together? Yes, you can. That becomes 6, but the x and the y don't really go together. So we just leave x times y. Same idea with this. If I have a 3 square root of 5 times a 2 cube root of 6, I multiply those together. The 2 and the 3 make a 6, but take a look. This is a square root of 5 and a cube root of 6. Square root and a cube root don't really go together, just like an x and a y. So what do we do in that case? We just keep it like that. Square root of 5 times cube root of 6, just like we keep the x and the y. So make sure when we multiply, we make sure they're both the same. Because if they're not the same, then we just leave it. And we're going to see that with adding also, yeah? So, this is basically the idea behind that. And let's do that problem again I had in the beginning. Let's take a look at this. First of all, are the radicals the same? Yeah, so let's multiply them together. First of all, there's what number's in front? This is a 2, and this is a, oh, I don't see a number there. But remember, if there's a number there, what number is really there that people don't write down? It is a 1. So, multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. They're both cube roots, so our radicals will be a cube root. Some people like to add those radicals or multiply. No, they stay the same, right? Cube root of 12 times 6 is 72. And x squared and x to the 5th is x to the 7th. That's it. That's how you multiply radicals. Are you done? Good. We're not done here. We still have to simplify it. So how do you simplify radicals? And this is what you did yesterday. We're expanding on that. Remember, crazy cake or factor tree, whatever you like. So I'm going to simplify 72 first. What number goes in 72? Good. 2. 2 goes into 7. 3 leaving 1. 36. Perfect. What goes into 36? 2 again. 2 goes into 3 once, leaving a 16. 2 goes into 8. 18. Looks good. What goes into that? 2 again. 2 goes into 8. 9. 3. 1. Very good. So our question is, how many of a kind are we looking for? We're looking for 3 of a kind, right? 3 of a kind. How do you know that? Look at the right here. This tells us right here what kind of radical is, means how many we're looking for. So I'm looking for 3 of a kind. Up and down here, do I see any? Yes. I see 3 too. So I'm going to take that outside. So take a look. Watch me take that outside. So my 2's still out there, my original 2, and now I take that green 2 outside, and then what's left over? The leftover is a cube root of 3 times 3, which is 9. How do you guys feel so far? Good? Now we got to do the x's. How many x's do I have? I have 7 x's. So 7 x's. I want to take 3 of a kind. So how many can I take? I can take x squared, that's 6 of them, with 1 left over. Once again, I'm going to write it out slowly for you. That's 7 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I take out 3 of a kind. Here's 3. Here's 3. That makes x squared with 1 left over. How do you guys feel? And therefore, is that my answer? Pretty much. I'm just going to simplify it one more time. This becomes a 4x squared, that's a squared, times cube root of 9x. That's it. How do you feel? Pretty easy? Kind of? So-so? No problem. Come and ask questions. Alright, let's do another one. Same idea. Multiply them together. Multiply outside with outside. 2 times 6 is 12. Radical and radical leaves us. They're both the same, so they're square root of what? 8 times 2 is 16. X to the 7th again, and y to the 5th. I'll stop there. How do you guys feel about multiplying? Questions? If you have a question, write in your notebook or write it later on. There's actually other ways to go about it. I'm just showing you one way. Somebody might ask, can I simplify first and then multiply? Yes. Will I get the same answer? Yes. There's nothing wrong with it. Alright. Now, I'm not done. I need to simplify. Simplify the numbers, then each variable. So let's do 16 first. How do you break down 16? If you already know it, you don't have to go through the process. Right now, I know the square root of 16 is 4. So I know it's going to be 4. But I'm going to go through it for some of those who don't see it right away. So 2, 8, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 1. Very good. Take out how many of a kind? 2 of a kind. How do you know? Because it's square root. 2, 2 makes 4, which I predicted. Take out the 4. The 12 still there. Square root. Now do the x's. 7 of them. Take out 2 of a kind. I could take out 3 sets with 1 left over. Y's. 5 of them. How many can I take out? I could take out 2 pairs with 1 left over. And therefore my answer is 48. X to the 3rd, y squared, left over a square root of x times y. And then you simplify and done. There you go. You got 2 problems. I'll give you something very similar to this on the test. Hopefully you understand. Please ask questions. Let's move on. Multiplying. Now let's talk about dividing. Alright, when we divide radicals, we want to simplify the radicals at the bottom. And we'll talk about conjugates and everything later, but let's go through the basics. You've seen this before. Number 3. You've seen this before. So how do you solve for this? You multiply by the same thing. Multiply by square root of 5 top and bottom, square root of 5 top and bottom. The top becomes 3 square root of 10. The bottom is square root of 5 times square root of 5, which is 5. Or square root of 25, which is 5. I still see people do this. That's the square root of 25 at the bottom, and they still write it as square root of 5 still. No, once you do the operation, the square root shouldn't be there anymore. So please, please, don't make that mistake anymore. We know how to do this, but do you really understand what you're doing? Because what you're doing here is that you're making, because you look at square root, you're making pairs. And when I make the same thing, the radical goes away. Now, we're going to use the idea and look at number 4. What's the difference between number 3 and number 4? The biggest difference is this is a square root, this is a cube root. So, how does that work? How is that going to be different? Take a look. If I just multiply by the cube root of 5, top and bottom, that gives me the cube root of 25. Does that simplify? Does that radical goes away? No. Why not? Because really, that's the cube root of 5 times 5. We just made a pair. And this one asks to make 3 of a kind. So how do we do that? Take a look. We actually have to do it one more time. Times the cube root of 5 times the cube root of 5 twice. Now we're making 3 of the same thing. Now the radical will go away. You can actually multiply it by the cube root of 25. That's fine too. That's the same thing. So take a look. Let's look at the top. On the outside is 3. On the inside is 2, 5, and 5. 2, 5, and 5 is 2 times 5 is 10 times 5 is 50. At the bottom is the cube root of 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. You don't have to write this out. You know that if you made 3 of a kind, the answer is just 5. So your final answer is 3. Cube root of 50 over 5. No radicals at the bottom. This one, usually students have a difficult time seeing this right away, but hopefully with a little bit of practice it gets a little bit better. But take your time, look at me doing it again, and understand really why I'm doing it or what I'm really doing. Yeah, rewind, look at it again. It takes a couple of times, but the idea is we want to make 3 of a kind, so make 3 of them, and then the radical will go away. If there's a 4th root, you want to make 4 of a kind. 5th root, you want to make 5 of them. So just multiply as many as you need to actually get rid of that radical. Let's look at one more. Alright. Couple things that I could do here. First of all, it is a cube root, so I have to make 3 of a kind. So take a look at here. I can actually do one of 2 things. I can multiply 25 times 25 2 more times, and that makes that number really huge. But if you notice, what this really is 3 cube root of 2x squared divided by the cube root of 5 times 5 times x to the 5th. If you look at that carefully, 25 already has 2 5s in it. So I really don't have to multiply 25, 25, 25. I really just need one more 5 to simplify, because I want to work with smaller numbers. The smaller the better. So really what I really need is just another cube root of 5. And that would get rid of the bottom. Now look at the x's. I want 3 of a kind, and I have 5 of them. Really, if I want 3 of a kind, I have to have a multiple of 3. So if I have 6 x's, alright, if I have 6 x's, that would be really good. So really, I just need another x. So I'm just going to multiply by another x. I'll go slowly, eyes up here, take a look. This becomes, top becomes 3 times the cube root of 2 and 5 make 10. X and x makes x cubed. The bottom, 5 times 5 times 5 is the cube root of 125. Do you have to write the 125? No, you can actually shortcut it and know that the answer is 5. X to the 6. I'm just going the long way so everyone can see my process. And this is what I actually did. 3 cube root of 10 x cubed. Take a look. Cube root of 125 is 5. Cube root of x to the 6 is x squared. And therefore my radical went away. So it's a little bit more thinking and planning ahead, not just the process of going, oh, I see that it's a cube root, just do it 3 times. Yeah, that would work all the time, but you're going to get like huge numbers and a bunch of simplifying. Are we done? Almost. If you did this on a test, you'll still lose points. Why? Because you're not done. You didn't fully simplify. Take a look. Can I simplify the cube root of 10? No. Can I simplify the cube root of x cubed? Yes. Take a look. That's 3x cube root of 10 divided by 5x squared. Ooh, am I done now? No, not quite. Take a look. Doesn't the x and the x squared kind of simplify also? Your final answer should be 3 cube root of 10 divided by 5x. And that's it. Alright, write your questions down, and we'll talk about tomorrow, and we'll do some problems tomorrow. Hopefully you understand this. Alright, have a good day, guys.